and welcome to Quadcast. Today I'm joined by our copywriter Lewis and Ravinder from RKR Content Creation and the host of Stratford Buzz Networking. So thanks for being with us today, Ravinder.
Thank you so much for the invite.
No worries. So today we're gonna have a little bit of a chat about copywriting and the importance of that in everyone's marketing, but also how offline networking and events are also really important. So let's get started just by finding out a bit more about the Stratford Buzz event, if you don't mind telling us about how you got involved in hosting that.
Yeah, sure. So when I began my networking kind of path, I started my very first networking organisation, is the word I'm looking for, would have been BNI, and I was very fresh in business, and I decided to join BNI due to the structure that it did have.
Yeah.
And after a few months, I'd invested quite a lot in BNI, and I was invited to Coventry Business Buzz. And I found that it was just a complete comparison and on the other spectrum of networking. Business Buzz, it was informal, it was fuss-free, and it was, yes, super friendly. I think the aspect of wanting to be there, like everyone, because it's fuss-free, people want to be there, and then they want to do business with people. Not that you don't want to in other networks, but I just found that it had a very, I think, especially me being new in business, being a new startup at that point, it being non-scary networking for a lot of people, put you at ease, and so I ended up being invited to help the team, it was Lily Samuels at the time, the host, be an ambassador at Coventry Business Buzz, and I ended up being an ambassador there for almost a year and a half. So probably just a little bit background and structure on Business Buzz as a network. It functions as not so much a chapter. Places like BNI might use chapters, but there are events. They've grown over the last 2 years to roughly 60 national monthly events. So for instance, there is now a Coventry Buzz, a Leamington Buzz, Solihull Buzz, Stratford upon Avon. They grow organically, and you are welcome to visit any of them, all informal, fuss-free, and they work on a basis of, for instance, I am now the host of Stratford upon Avon Buzz, and that is the third Tuesday of every month. Regarding Coventry Buzz, that is the first Wednesday of every month. Yeah, so each event is usually hosted, has a host and 1, 2, possibly 3 ambassadors, usually 2 maximum. And and it is 10 to 12, and it is informal, and there's a Buzz app, and there's all these extras as well. So I did 1.5 years as a Coventry Ambassador Buzz, really enjoyed that, elevated my presence somewhat. I was kindly asked by the regional manager, James Broder, who's awesome, if I wanted to then take on the hosting at Stratford upon Avon Buzz. And in all honesty, my first reaction was,
No thanks.
No thanks. I'm quite comfortable in my Coventry ambassador. Coventry, I felt, was a base. I was doing a lot of networking there. I felt like I was a bit uncomfortable, like leaving my normal patch, basically, of networks.
Yeah.
But after a while, I then kind of looked at it and said, well, actually, that would be great, because I was already doing weekly networking in Coventry. I said, well, it's a good idea for me to host out. And as soon as I kind of said yes, it reignited a lot of old skills and things that I love.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of service work in the background. I love hosting. I come from a big family, 6 people come over to eat. I'm in my element.
Yeah.
I'm that friend. I connect people. My university friend will then be having coffee with my school friends. So professionally and personally, Buzz has been
a good
brilliant.
Fit. Yeah, no, I went to the last Stratford Buzz and it was really nice. And it's a really nice venue down by the river as well, isn't it? So if it's a nice sunny day, you can carry on chatting with people after, because that's the big thing about networking is, although it's great that the Stratford Buzz you can kind of go or not go depending on how busy you are, you need to kind of keep going to these kind of things to build relationships and spend time with people afterwards. So I think it does encourage one-to-ones after the meetings, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. And Stratford-upon-Avon is, how do I put this without sounding too... When I kind of started getting into the seat of, okay, I'm the Stratford-upon-Avon host, and I was like, it's just such a beautiful, historically important town, obviously. Yeah. So it was such an easy sell. That was exactly how I thought. I thought, well, I'm just going to say, come and have a nice informal fuss-free networking for 2 hours and then go and enjoy the town and go on the canal for your one-to-one and go grab a coffee and you know, so it was quite I say an easy sell. I'm trying not to be derogatory to places like other buzzes. All the buzzes are doing really well, you know, they're worth visiting in that sense. But Stratford, I obviously was like, well, this is, you know, going to be easy to outer network to say, come and have a day out in Stratford too.
Yeah, definitely. It's Stratford's such a lovely, special place. It's easier to woo people to that. Whereas, I mean, people say they're sending me to Coventry. It's not a particularly wonderful expression. It doesn't make people want to go. So.
Exactly. That's it. But so it was... and also then I got into the Stratford-upon... So then obviously I was just... My mind was like, what as I think you mentioned, you know, what do I want to achieve in Stratford with that? So I had feedback, you know, that there wasn't much going on in Stratford. There's all the cliches of Stratford too. It's a touristic town. It's just, you know, buses of people coming in and out, and there's not much. Oh well, you know, I've been to a few networking events in Stratford, and they haven't worked. You know, it's a bit drab. And I went, okay, well then, let's change that. You know, let's change that. There's clearly things happening there. It can't simply just be, you know, coffee shops and small touristic shops and museums and things. And is Stratford just about Shakespeare? That'd probably be it. And then that was my task. I also take days out in Stratford, go for a walk, do a bit of shopping. And I began just kind of talking actually to the locals and explaining that there was I'm actually going to be hosting a new networking event it's not new, but I'm going to be taking over the event that had, I think, 10 people turning up. And I began to find out that there was actually a lot of... it's Stratford-upon-Avon is a vibrant actual community. I walked into places like Lush and I suggested that, and I started talking to them about what they're doing. They said, we'd love to get involved. They said, we've got some workshops. And then they explained about the local book fairs that were happening and other companies that would like to hear about what was going on. I think even, hopefully, you know, the fact that there was... Hopefully you had a good time and had heard about it and said this is going to be good for AlphaQuad as well. So I'm also slow and steady wins the race. It's not numbers really. I think it will grow organically as long as we continue to make it a space for business growth and for people to network and also have a pleasant day at least, and not feel like it's going to be a suited and booted or stuffy event, which you can often feel. So with networking, can be a bit daunting for especially new businesses that haven't done much of it. So
it's nice the way when you arrive it's very informal. You kind of just chat with anyone else that's there that you kind of want to talk to, and then about halfway through the event we all kind of got in a circle just to have a few seconds to say who we all were, so that then for the second half of the event you can actually go and meet up with the people that you think you might be able to do business with, or just be interested in what they're doing, find out more about them. So the structure of it, I think, is really nice in that way, that it isn't like stand up for 30 seconds each and say what you're doing and what kind of business you want. It's not formal in the way that some networking events are.
Yes, yeah. And funnily enough, on your former point, or your last point about... I've had somebody, because I'm building it month by month and looking at who might want to be part of the ambassador team to help me promote the event, spoke to one lady hit it off lovely, and she asked, well, she'd consider it and asked what kind of time, will it take from my month? What would you expect? And I was like, well, actually, obviously, as an ambassador, we wouldn't. It's whatever you would do would be so super grateful for if there was 2 or 3 LinkedIn posts and you were just asking your friends and just promoting the event. I said I do a lot of it, and if you can help and be there on the day, I said it's not actually the time of promoting it online. I said you are going to be introduced to not only a group of people but a much wider network, so you want to be looking at it, especially if you're going to be part of one of the teams, not as just something that you help out with monthly, but that you are going to be introduced to. You know what it's like when you leave a network group and a network meeting and you've got 5 business cards in your back pocket and 5 one-to-ones to book, and you're going, yep, I'm super absolutely want to have 2-hour chat with you, but it's probably going to be next month or something like that. So yeah, and Business Buzz as an organisation, they are saying that. As an ambassador, I didn't really realise it. Now I'm a host, I see it more. One, I said to the potential ambassador, there's lots of, like, we're going to have a big ball for Business Buzz where they celebrate us and do an awards ceremony in October. We had a regional day 2 months ago. There's loads of extra bits of training that you can take on and things, and and then I'm like, and then you've got like 50 potential buzzes to go to. I met one guy who's been involved with Buzz since the beginning, and he said that I can't remember exactly how many, he visited 50 buzzes in a year and just kept popping
up around the country at the Business Buzz.
Yes. Something, I'm not sure exactly what it's, but I know he said something along the lines of, I went to 50 of it, and I was like, hang on a minute, that's like 1 a week, or you would have just literally spent half your year. And he was like, but it's paid off.
Yeah.
Like his business has done really well from it. So
AlphaQuad love networking events, don't we? And the other thing is that it's not just who's in the room when you go, and it is really important to keep going and build proper relationships with people, but then once you've done that, you're not just networking with the room but also everyone that the room knows. And we have already actually had a referral from somebody that I met at Business Buzz, but not to work with them but to work with someone that they know, which is why I think networking is so important, more so than ever I think at the moment as well, because people just want to work with people. And it's quite difficult to translate that into the digital world, we find sometimes as well, because with the advance of AI and things, it makes it really difficult to actually know who you're talking to. So when you take that offline and you meet the people behind the businesses, it's just such a strong message to send out, which actually leads into the next thing I wanted to ask you, which is as a copywriter by trade, does attending those networking events in person influence the things you write about or how you go about your day job?
Definitely in terms of I was going to say, so obviously when I kind of thought, okay, we're going to be talking about AI here, and in general, as you must know, Lewis, like on copywriters, get asked a hell of a lot about AI. I've been asked anyway, because I network so much and meet so many people.
It's the buzzword.
So yes, so I was like, okay, do I go and research the top 10 AI tools, or do I do unpopular opinion and possible unpopular opinion, and just be honest and be myself here and just say that I feel like AI is a tool, and I'm just being brutally honest, I'm not the most tech savvy. For me, it's about the quality of content, and that's always going to be my bullseye focus. Is this quality, and is it doing what it needs to do, and is the tone right? And as you know, Lewis, these things are these important. I feel like there's a lot of, I'm not quick to start gathering all the tools and put them in my network for the sake of talking for them, but I'm super open to adapt and learn about them. I'm not kind of shutting off. So I feel like the reason why being part of networking, and being asked about it, is I am kind of like in a position where I'm like, the best thing about it is you can see what the market are doing with AI, what they need, what their fears are actually. You know, there is a few people that are actually like, am I getting left behind? Is this taking over the world? All of these kind of big phrases. And I think it's not even I don't think the question is, do you use AI? It's like, what's your stance on it? What is it actually doing to your industry?
Yeah.
But being part of such a network, meeting so many people and connecting so many people, I get to see a range of industries. Are they using AI? How are they using it? What do they need? In that turn, obviously from my business perspective, what do I need to do to my services? How do I adapt my services? Are they going to need me to do a bit more proofreading, quality control over their branding? Are they going to need some more market research? Are they actually getting swept away with using a lot of tools, but maybe the messaging is still not quite correct? So that's where, for me, I kind of sit comfortably. It's a win-win, because then there are AI trainers out there. So I kind of say, well, the AI trainers will probably tell you how to utilize the tools, and I will figure out how I think most of us are all adapting as we go. In these industries, we have to, and everyone is kind of saying, well, it's a tool rather than a... So that's the beauty of networking, and also having a range of clients and seeing what it is doing to the industry in real time, rather than reading it in, one of the online kind of things. You see it in real time, what businesses are doing with it, how they're feeling about it, and how then I can shift and adapt and see where my skill sets are going to serve them.
So has AI impacted your writing approach? Do you kind of use the tools to help prompt writing? Because that was one of the things that concerned us the most about the advance of AI, is all of a sudden it makes it possible for anyone to write copy, but not necessarily good copy. And so we spend quite a lot of time trying to educate people in how Google will be able to tell, and the other search engines, but obviously it's 90% of the time that is Google. It will be able to tell if you're just churning out lots and lots of copy through using AI, and that it's really important to keep backing that up with the individual expertise. And also that's why people don't necessarily need to be concerned that there's going to be lots of people that can write about what their subject matter is, because if they're the expert in it, their content is always going to be better than anything that ChatGPT or any of the other AI tools can actually churn out.
I'm just going to take a breath and a sigh of relief, because obviously as a media agency, I didn't know where you stood on. You might be like, okay, but that was, thinking like at this point, getting to know you, and as AlphaQuad as well, whether you guys are saying, look, we've got the 20 top AI things, we're going to churn out, 100 social media posts in one day. There are companies like that out there. And I'm so glad, because now I'm just going to, not that because we're on a similar value scale, that's exactly where I kind of stand with it. Luckily we've got, there's another guy based in Coventry, a company who touched upon that last month in our network meeting, that that it is still the case that Google does not like, churning AI content and that monthly content and monthly presence and the quality of it. I would say what happened, there was a deadline looming on some applications that I was writing, and I was young in business and I was eager to do well, and I ended up being, the client asking me to take on more than I could chew at the end of the day. And that was the moment where I jumped onto ChatGPT and popped in some information, and then I think there was this idea that, we'll bang out 500 words for you and then you just rewrite it. And I said, well, that takes longer, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because it's not good writing, and it's generic, and it's not what is the word, personal. I've been given lots of advice, you see, and I've been told, don't ignore it and maybe put it in your LinkedIn post and put in some AI written content and then my written content, which was another point that we were going to discuss today. So I suppose mentally I have been kind of preparing as that's a bit of an issue for copywriters, marketing, media agencies, but I feel like we're almost a little bit on the back footer with it. We almost have to explain all of this before we just say, okay, so can we just get the content right? We have to kind of put people at rest and say, well, this is the reason why you're still investing in written content and not... and you get, but the apps are, but if you ask the right questions and you get to know them and you get the paid thing and there's this and they'll just churn out. It's like, but it's not quality. It is almost not. I find it, I don't know. I kind of also say, if you're a new business and you don't have a budget and you just want to get a presence and, yes, quality over quantity, but you're just starting out and you want to work with these AI tools and you want to, do that, then obviously not going to say, invest in me and, lose your mortgage because you've started a new business. But at the same time, I also say, so I'm very research focused. After market research projects, I go away, I saw on the website, the user profiles, the market and audience. I'm really trained in research too, my background. So currently what I'm doing for a health and safety training company in this precise moment, 2 more coming up. So to get a bird's eye view of what's going on.
I find as well, when you look at like what people are writing, say, on LinkedIn, I don't like the fact that you can't always tell, is this what someone thinks, or have they asked ChatGPT to tell them what to think? It becomes really quite difficult to actually determine what's a real person's opinion and what's AI, and I don't want that to become like in copy and in social media. It's really hard these days to tell who's talking.
Yes, and that's what it is. And I think all this, that's what the point I was going to make about the market. What does the customer think? Is your customer okay with you saying, don't worry about it, I've used ChatGPT to talk to you. This is a computer emailing you back. This is one of those digital, voices that I'm going to give you, no problem. Or do they actually want to speak to you, the owner, or somebody that actually cares about the customer? That's the questions that I have, because, me as a consumer, how do I feel about... Nobody seems to prefer a digital voice, or even on the house phone, which my elderly dad still has, than a person. I think that's a given. Then we've got quality content, quality reassurance, you get what you paid for. So if you're going to go on a free site and churn out a load of information, it is going to be obvious that you haven't invested. So it's, as you say, we're kind of in the middle of even seeing that, what way it's going. I think it's a generational thing as well. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah, I definitely have.
Younger people are, making... Even my younger cousin's friend or something at some event is saying I don't want to say making fun. Well, kind of making fun of somebody that used ChatGPT for some recruitment process. They're all in their early 20s and one chipper lad has gone and put 20 applications in ChatGPT and they were all kind of not exactly saying ChatGPT is the future. They were kind of a group of people. And that's my bit. I go and speak to the actual people, which sounds so kind of startup culture, but it's people to people. That's the kind of... So, and then I hear generally older businesses that are successful businesses and just trying to get their heads around how they're going to work. And some businesses I know are really doing well from it, automating systems for bigger companies and kind of processes.
Yeah. I find it really helpful because we do subscribe obviously to AIs because you have to sort of keep up with the technology that's available. But we don't use it to write any of our copy. But what it is really useful for is to sort of prompt you into what might be a good thing to write about. So if you give it the prompt of, I'm writing an article for this audience about this subject, it can then go and research what people are interested in much faster than you manually can. So we're sort of thinking that businesses especially they're not going to replace copywriters, because they're still going to want that expertise. But what they might start to expect is that we can produce more in less time, and so that's where AI needs to help, perhaps with that research piece, so the actual copy stays authentic, but knowing what to write about, what subjects are going to be interested, and for us as an SEO agency, what's ranking well and what keywords should be targeted, it can take a lot of time out of that, which means that you can kind of produce more for people's time.
Yes. Yeah, and from a business angle, that is probably where they are. What does work for, if I can produce more in less time, then yeah, that can only work well from a business as long as the quality.
As long as the quality is there.
Still there.
It's just so important, isn't it, that the quality is there. So, can you tell us about the best piece of copy you've done? So whether that's about something really exciting or...
It's the most broad question that anybody could ever ask.
It's such a broad question. And then I'm going to ask it to you as well, Liz.
Oh, I've got an answer for this already.
Brilliant.
Though. So,
okay, you go... Because...
Okay, so the best... Well, I've got two answers. So the best thing was... So a couple of months ago, I decided it would be a really good idea for us to start doing YouTube video essays, because... Why not? I had a day free. I can create something out of nothing in that time.
Yeah.
And it was just shortly before the live action Lilo and Stitch came out, and I thought, what a great idea it would be to write about the marketing campaign behind the original Lilo and Stitch, because it was very inventive for them at the time, and going into Disney's history. My background is film studies, so I already knew kind of a decent amount about that. And 3 hours later, 4,000 words later, here we are with this piece of copy that I kept reading over and over again, going, wow, I'm good at my job. Tooting my own horn as per usual, but it was just something that I still now feel like, wow, I did a really good job of that. And then we produced it and released it, and it did really well. So it was some validation that I desperately needed for that piece of copy.
I'd love to read it. I'd like to have a look at it if it's...
I'll send it over.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. We published it on our YouTube channel, and I think it's our most viewed video, isn't it?
Oh, easily.
It's miles.
I mean, considering, so when we published that video, I think we had 9 subscribers on YouTube, because it's not a platform that we've ever used, so it's not something we've ever focused on, low subscriber numbers. And most of our videos were averaging probably like 20 views per, with very, I mean, it peaks in the first 5 seconds, and then there's an immediate audience drop off on YouTube anyway. But specifically in ours, because we weren't producing anything that was particularly interesting to watch. And that video, I kept looking at it every hour, because the view numbers just kept going up and up and up and up and up, and I kept going, oh my god, this is kind of taking on a life of its own. And so when you look at kind of, obviously in comparison to people that have been doing this for years and years, it's nowhere near, but I mean, it's sat now after 2 months at 7,500 views, and I'm absolutely delighted about it. Just it's just great that there was an audience for that kind of thing, and the feedback for it was really lovely, all in the YouTube comments. And
it's great from a business perspective as well, because obviously it's a sidestep from what AlphaQuad is known for, but it showcases what we can do, and that's what businesses need to do, is not always sort of just stick to what they know, but actually showcase sort of what skills you have and what you can provide. And sometimes everything doesn't have to be all about a brand. It can just be something that's really exciting to produce.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. Even though we were kind of like, it's hard to express that it's not a black and white situation. We're in here. It's not like, I use it, I don't use it. It's so, look at that's what I was trying to say. Is there's also the optimism that we have all these tools, that we can save the time, that we've got YouTube video essays. Who knew? And you're going, look what we can produce, and through tools that we have and through channels and everything. It's a different landscape, isn't it? Compared to but that does sound really exciting. I'm wrap it up because I've got to go listen to that. I'm going to go see it. But it's the upside is that AI is not done and is exciting. There will be, there are a handful of, for instance, I'm planning a big, it might not even be for the words, which people kind of think is, it's words. I'm going to be doing a presentation for a company because I'm going to spend some time looking at their current marketing. And in my mind, walking, taking my daily walk, and I'm going, right, I'm going to look out for an app that will give me some fancy presentation of what I've found. I'm sure there's one out there, that type of thing. But I haven't found it yet, but I'll let you know in a couple of weeks. But it's exciting too. But people are, I think, the fact that as copywriters and marketing, I don't know, I feel like one of the issues is that there is just feeling a sense of having to put people's fears down, put people's worries or anything, or how do we navigate this, I think at the beginning I had a meet about 2 years ago whilst I'm networking, I speak to a number of different marketing agencies in the Midlands, or have a chat or meet people, or even in other areas, and they were navigating it too, and making the most of it, and we're all doing our best to make the most of what we have, and utilise them where we need. And some there was a media agency who were like, we're on top of everything, and we use them and we save a lot of time, and we get everything out quicker, which potentially means saving costs to the customer, which is good for a larger company. But then they would kind of say, and then we get a copywriter to give it a check over and make sure that it doesn't sound like a robot. So they were just navigating it. There's no right or wrong. They were saying, well, we're kind of much more tech orientated, so we're going to do that, but for the quality assurance. And then meeting people openly were like, well, we don't use AI, we use humans like myself and Lewis. I am human still. We're not androids yet.
Not just yet. I do feel like it after a week off though.
Brilliant. Well, I think that's probably wraps up for today, doesn't it? So thank you so much for coming and joining us. So we'll just reconfirm. So the next Stratford Buzz is on the 19th of August, and it's on the third Thursday of every month.
So Tuesday, 19th of August is the next Stratford-upon-Avon Business Buzz at the Encore, based right near it is Bridge Street, and it is the third Tuesday of every month is the Stratford-upon-Avon Buzz, and I naturally, any questions about that or the wider Business Buzz community, I'm available. And can I also just say a huge thank you for the invite and for the wonderful afternoon I've had chatting with you too. It's so nice
welcome. Thank you for spending time with us.
Beauty of Stratford Business Buzz is evident in this room right now, so I'm super chuffed. What a way to start the week. So thank you, AlphaQuad and Sarah and Lewis.
No worries. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.